So today, you guys, we are doing frequently missed problems from the juniors last year, okay? So this is like what Devlin kids missed. And I'm going to have you guys do a problem, and then we'll talk about it, okay? Next week, just so you guys know, we will do calculator tricks, all right? Mostly on the Inspire, so hopefully that's what you all have. If you don't, I don't know how to help you, all right? So this week, though, is frequently missed problems. So everybody try. This is the top left one. There is multiple choice. Go ahead and try it first, and then we'll talk about it now. Okay, so you isolate this square part first. It's already isolated. This was an Algebra 2 problem, but maybe you guys haven't seen it in a while. So we square both sides. This undoes the square. I get x minus 3. On this side, you guys, you have to FOIL this. So you might want to write it as 2 sets of parentheses. So it gives you 9, 3 times 3. This is negative 3 root x, negative 3 root x. So that's negative 6 root x. And then a negative times a negative is a positive, and the square root of x times the square root of x is x. Okay, then you subtract x from both sides, which is nice because it goes away. And you have another radical. You isolate this radical now, okay? First, subtract 9. And you get negative 12. Sorry, I don't have a lot of room. And that's negative 6 right there. Divide by negative 6, that's positive 2. And square both sides, and you get 4. And you're like, oh, no, my answer's not there. So you guys, a lot of times they actually put the answer there because they're mean. And that's not the answer because you didn't read the rest of the problem. This happens a ton on the SAT. So go back before you pick an answer and reread the problem. And it says, what is the value of this? So you got to plug in 4. And that's the square root of 1. And you get A. How many of you guys got it right? Okay, good. All right, guys. This question, listen carefully, is a stats question. So if you haven't really done stats or you don't know what standard deviation is, then you might struggle. So just so you know, standard deviation is talking about a typical distance from the mean or a variation, how far off you are from the mean. So with that explanation, see if you can read through and pick the best answer. Okay, what'd you guys pick? Okay, so you guys, it is C, the variation in the distribution of the distance people commute is the same because the variation is talking about the standard deviation or how far off we are from the mean. All right, if you didn't take stats, don't feel like, oh, I just don't know that question. Like, look over this, okay? There's pretty basic stats questions on this, and we'll go over a few things that hopefully you'll remember when you take this in a month, okay? Only 48% got this question right, and you guys should totally know how to do this. This is like Algebra 1 and Algebra 2, and I don't know if you do it after that, but probably. All right, so read through and see if you can figure out this question. All right, you guys, I think some of you are confused enough. We're ready. So this first line is line M, and its slope is 3/5, okay? If you need a perpendicular slope, you got to do opposite reciprocal. You have to know this for the SAT. I guarantee there will be something about perpendicular lines, okay? So how do I find negative 5/3? You need to solve for y, okay? So in this first one, first I would subtract the 5x. So I'd have a 3y. I'm going to subtract 5x and the 3, and then I would divide by 3. And I'm really excited because I already found it. So I'm going to stop, okay? So that is the slope, and it's the only one that gives you negative 5/3. Because here, if you subtract and you divide by a negative 3, you get a positive. Here, you'll subtract and divide by a negative, you get a positive. All right, so all of them don't work except for A. So you should get A. Hold on, comma 91. So I'm going to go right here. Again, you don't even see a dot, but it's like close enough, and it's on the line. All right, so you pick another point approximately on the line. Could you have picked a different point? Yes. Okay, you can pick any 2 points that are basically on the line. Now you guys find the slope, and then plug in the slope and one of the points and find the y-intercept. Okay, so see if you can do it from there. Okay, so again, the y-intercept, you cannot look at the graph, okay? It is not 62. So after you get the 0.21, you do plus b, that's your slope. You plug in either x, y coordinate. So like 70 goes in for y, and 180 goes in for x, and you'll solve for b. Do this times this and subtract, and you should get 32. So the correct answer is A. Okay. They are looking to get you on the SAT with those 0-0 problems. All right, this one only 49% got correct. It is a factoring problem. It is no calc. If you've taken pre-calc, I know we did this in pre-calc. If you haven't, it's probably not familiar, but I think it's doable. This is one you could learn if you are in Algebra 2. It's not that much harder than what we do in Algebra 2. So you might want to review this before the SAT test. If they have something like this, I think you should be able to do it. I'm just going to show you guys. All right, it's a trinomial, so we want to go to like 2 sets of parentheses, okay? And you want to think about this times this has to multiply to x to the 4th. What could that be? X squared times x squared. And then we do this the same way we do the other trinomials. We're looking for what multiplies to 16 and adds to -8. What would those two numbers be? Multiplies 16, adds to -8. -4 times -4. Okay, we're not done, and that is not D. Don't put D, okay? Those factor again. These are a difference of squares, x plus 2, x minus 2, and this is another x plus 2, x minus 2. So that means I have 2 of these, and I have 2 of these, so the correct answer is A. Okay, you guys, here's a parabola. If you were just in my Algebra 2 class today, you could complete the square. No one likes doing that, but you could. I just taught it to you today if you're in Algebra 2. All right. Those of you guys who are a little further, or you could just plug in points. Really, plugging in points is the way I did it, and I just checked which one looked the best when I plugged in 0, 1, -1, okay? So see if you guys can get this parabola question. So obviously the easiest point to plug in is 0 for x. If you plug in 0, that all goes away and you get 2, but then you're like, oh, that didn't help at all. Every single point has 0, 2 on there. All right, so then you plug in 1. So 1 squared is 1, and 2 times 1 is 2. That'd be 3 plus, what is that, 5? Did you guys get 5? Okay. So you know that like 1, 5 has to be on there, so it's not that one. It's not that one. Okay, 1, 5 could be here, 1, 5 could be here, right? I don't know. You can't tell. So then you got to plug in -1. So -1 squared is +1. This would be -2, which -1 plus 2 is 1. All right, so you get -1, 1. Did I do that right? Okay, so you get B. Okay, could you complete the square? Yes, but no one likes doing that, but I'll show you really quick because you did this a lot in your life. All right, so you like do plus a space and you move this 2 over and you do minus a space. You take half this number and you square it. You do +1. I know some people put this number on the other side when they teach it, but I like to add the same number and subtract the same number. Okay, this becomes a perfect square trinomial. And then these add together, +1. So basically the point of this is you're in vertex form, which gives you the point -1, 1. But this has been a while for some of you. You may not remember that. That is actually a good way to do it, though, because that's the only one that has the vertex at -1, 1. However, I like just plugging in points, okay? All right, this is a no calculator question. I don't know why anyone would miss this, you guys, but the only thing I can think of is you don't know how to find the x coordinate of the x-intercept. So first of all, how do you find an x-intercept? You plug 0 in for what? Yes, Plug 0 in for y. Anytime you want to x-intercept, and then find the x-coordinate of it. So you guys see if you can get that one now. So you plug 0 in for y. This part cancels. You divide by 4. And you get x equals 1/2. So just so you know, this is the coordinate point 1/2 comma 0, because you plugged in 0 for y. What is the x part of the coordinate? It's still 1/2. This is not a multiple choice question. You actually have to fill in 0.5 or 1/2 and you get it correct, okay? All right, this is the last one of these. I realize some of you have never seen circles. I think this is worth learning, even if you have not seen this. I would practice this before the SAT. I have seen circles in this form on every SAT, so I'm guessing it'll be on there. So just so you guys know, if you don't know anything about circles, this is the center of the circle here, and it's always the opposite. So it's 6, 3. The radius is the square root here. So your radius is actually 5. All right, I would graph this first. So I would like draw the center of the circle, 1, 2, 3. Try to make it nicer than mine because mine's not very good here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up 3. That's a center. Okay, and then if your radius is 5, you just go down 5, right 5, left 5, up 5, and you draw a really beautiful circle. Okay, start with that. Now, what does this actually say? The graph in the xy plane of the equation above is a circle. If the circle is translated downward a units, such that the circle is tangent to the x-axis. So you have to know what tangent means. What's it mean? It means like touching, just touching it, okay? So you guys, you need to translate that so that it's touching the x-axis. Then the equation becomes, what is the value of a? Okay, I want it to touch the x-axis. They said to move it downward, not upward. See if you guys can figure out how far down we need to move it so that it is touching the x-axis. A nice graph would help. Okay, so you guys, that means I need this part right here. I know I didn't exactly hit the mark. That should have been up there. All right, this needs to move all the way down to here. So how far is this radius? It's 5. And then this distance is 3. So this whole distance is 8. I need to move it down 8. So A has a value of 8. Okay. I strongly recommend, if you don't know circles, that you look at circles, okay? That really you just have to know the center and the radius, kind of how to graph it. They're pretty easy. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is a practice test. Okay. I would like you guys to work quietly and then finish it at home. Next week we might have a little time. I know. I'm going to pause it.